Hello, my name is Yihang. I'm sorry that due to some inevitable reasons, I couldn't attend this presentation in person, so I make a video instead. I apologize sincerely. If you have some questions after my video presentation, please email me and I will answer your questions as soon as possible. My school email is hsywei3@liverpool.ac.uk. Thank you. So my essay topic is a discussion about the original driving force for design and the development of digital architectural design. It seems that the way that architectural design developed by the understanding and using of mathematics, which is human consider as using the rules of nature. We create things by using the database of the nature or the universe. Everything we create must have its meaning to exist. And this meaningful thing comes from the natural rules we know, and we must use the natural rules to do everything. According to the law of conservation of energy, even our design or our creation is not things come from nowhere. They are a combination of rules and laws of the nature and universe that human discovered. Every single thought and creation belongs to the whole universe, because we human are part of it, and what we think can create is part of the universe operation. To the nature, we just like the cells of a human body, appear when the environment is fitting our surviving, searching nutrition to feed ourselves, grow and bleed. And then, when we adapt to a new environment, we develop, we evolve, we create. But that's only the operation of the whole human body, and that human may not notice what happened in his body. So, compare with the human developing mode, the development of the architecture design, or let's say, any design, are all follow the natural rules. We do not design with no purpose, because all human activities take place with reasons. Why we need architecture? Yes, a shelter for sure, prevent us from disturbing of nature and create a relative suitable environment for us to do our activities. And then, when things become history, we need to memorize them. We start to draw history on the stone, on the wall, and later we knew how to retain memory by building architecture. So, different styles of architecture appear in different areas all around the world. We need different function of space to do different activities. So more and more different shapes of architecture appeared. We can stimulate this development with some real-time strategy video games, build houses for growing population, build mines to produce energy, build barracks to train army, and build laboratories to develop technology. Separation of design and construction. Architect is a profession that requires a large number of different types of knowledge, but there are some differences in the past and at present, and the future, of course. In the ancient times, architects were more like all-rounders that know everything about the process from the design to the construction of the architecture. For example, Vitruvius, who wrote the famous The 10 books on architecture, had a large amount of different knowledge, not only about almost all the theories and techniques of designing and constructing architecture at that time, but also knowledge depth about culture, geography, mechanism, astronomy, and so on. Another example is Leonardo da Vinci. Though he was not a professional architect, he knew many architectural techniques and designed many useful architecture during his artist's lifetime. For centuries, architects were not only the masters of spatial effects, but also closely involved in the construction of buildings. They command the construction workers directly face-to-face at the working site and monitored the construction process. However, this phenomenon had changed at some time in the past, that architects were separated from the whole design and construction process, but only be responsible for the designing parts. And the original reason for causing this change was the introduction of the widespread design communication method, drawing. It is a fact that image communication is very important for architects today, but maybe just the drawing emerged and caused the present separation of the design and construction, though some others think that the need to separate design and construction made drawing appeared. With the help of drawing, architects can work in the studio and communicate with the construction workers by the drawings, which made them gradually far away from the fieldwork process. Obviously, architects now are considered more as thinkers because they come up with some ideas and extract the concepts, and that made them become image to show to others. They talk, they discuss about any aspects of design or some realistic problems in the world and try to solve them with their professional knowledge. However, they prepare for their profession by studying at university instead of training in a shop or on site, like plumbers or bakers. They may not know much about the construction process, because the duty of design the structure or other details has distributed to other types of professions. As a matter of fact, it is not exaggerated to consider architects as artists, because most of them can present really good hand-drawing skills, for what we can consider their work as art. Many architecture and design courses emphasize the importance of hand-drawing and modeling as an effective way of communicating and developing a design brief. While the role of hand-drawing is undoubtedly a significant one, the reality of day-to-day design practice now places for more importance on drawing and modeling using digital means. Therefore, here is the introduction of the digital design in architecture. As computer science developing more and more rapidly, and the wider use of internet and different kinds of media, communication, the design digitally is becoming more and more common. Architects no longer only present paper information to clients and construction workers. They use digital media and internet to show their design. At the same time, the need of drawing design on the computer was required, just like the need of typing. And gradually, this kind of design method, which called CAD, was accepted by more and more people. And at this early age, CAD means computer-aided drawing, but not the real CAD system we will talk about later. In the early use of computer, architects considered the computer as a drawing tool, like pencil, to draw lines on the screen rather than paper. According to Garber, traditional production tools such as pencils, slide rulers, triangles have now substantially been surpassed by the more streamlined and efficient ones embedded in computer software. Apparently, quickly and conveniently drawing and altering sketches on the computer and shared via internet and digital media to others help designers saving a large amount of time. They do not need to carefully draw each line of the design on the paper slowly, and they do not need to start over once they draw a wrong line on the paper. With an easy click, the mistake on the design can be rapidly deleted. At this point, computer became a drawing tool just for saving time and more convenient communication with clients, workers, and working partners. According to Garden, during the first half of the 1980s, the CAD systems actually used in building design have been primarily used as drafting systems. We are still speaking about a technique which hasn't reached its maturity. According to Penn, the research and development of computer-aided design in architecture can be traced back to the early 16th at least. According to Garden, structural engineering was one of the pioneer engineering fields in using computers for aiding the design process. Programs were written for solving special structural problems as early as the 1950s, and the need of extensive computations in many design cases led to the use of computer increasingly. Parametric design. As time went by, people no longer satisfied with the low-intelligence design-aided method. They started to search for some techniques that are more artificial intelligence to give their design more unpredicted possibility. Parametric design was introduced as a new technique in the past decades and become popular at present. According to Kolarovic, in parametric design, it is the parameters of a particular design that are declared, not its shape. By assigning different values to the parameters, different objects of configurations can be created. Parametric design is particularly useful for modeling the geometry of complex building forms. According to Corsa, parametric design allows users to modify relationships between various features while tracking the history of these changes, thus updating all relationships performed after the modification. By using parametric design process, we can set a series of rules to limit our design at a reasonable domain and modify the parameter within the domain. For example, we can set the rule that a window is always 6% large of a room's whole area. So no matter how big the room area we modified, the window would always be the room area's 6%. As a matter of fact, parametric design is not only can help us altering the whole architecture conveniently, it can also help us create some forms and shapes that we could not predict or imagine. Usually at this situation, designers can get different kinds of unpredicted results and they can choose the most satisfying result they want. Parametric design is a kind of process that will definitely include in any architectural design process. It is a trend for the whole architectural design world. Maybe 20 years ago, even the professional architects didn't know such kind of state-of-the-art thing, but at present, parametric design is being talked about and being used in many architectural practice. Although right now, there are some obstacles to prevent parametric design successfully spread. Like the parametric software are expensive and some negative thoughts about its anti-intuition thinking. In the future, however, these kinds of problems will be solved naturally. The reason why parametric design will exist is that it fits the convenience of design process. We don't need to alter everything we create in our design process because we have set the principle to align the geometry relationship between each element we want them to be. As far as I know, Grasshopper in Reynolds is a good example to utilize this rule. For instance, we can set a circle's radius and then duplicate it to several different heights and then loft into a cylinder. But we don't need to alter the cylinder if we want to change the shape of the mass ourselves. We just have to change the number of the radius of the circle we set at the very beginning, and that with the parametric discipline, the cylinder will change its shape by the influence of the changing of the circle because they have the geometric relationship. This is just a very simple example to comprehend parametric design. Actually, parametric design can be very complicated when we are dealing with complicated shape modeling, and this kind of complicated issue may delay the design process of most of the designers today. So that's the reason why parametric design could not be widespread all over the architectural design world. However, with the development of the design tools evolution, they will be much easier for people to understand and handle, as well as the adaptation to parametric thinking of designers. Parametric design will be much more popular in the future. What's more, some people argue that parametric design will limit designers' thinking and make them become the slave of the design process provided by parametric design tools. I don't agree with this point of view, because parametric design is not the existing Lego building blocks that we can only build with the blocks that already shaped. We just use the discipline to form the relationships with the components we want to make them change their shape with a reasonable principle, and that will not limit our idea to create something new to the architectural and the human world. BIM, another CAD system that is extremely important today, and in the future is BIM, Building Information Modeling. With traditional process, information is exchanged as documents, often just on paper, which causes non-value adding work, friction, data losses, and errors. But with BIM, information is shared in an exploitable data format directly between different systems, and that in many ways, it can prevent many mistakes. BIM is kind of working process, but not some software that could deal with everything in building construction. It could not solve all the problems in the industrial. So what exactly people use BIM for? There are some potential purposes of BIM. For example, people use BIM for internal efficiencies in design at the time with domain-specific design models. When designers merge in models for design coordination, it can be less errors and rework process. Besides, in construction management, quantity dictation, cost estimation, and scheduling, the production can be efficient and the predictability can be improved. What's more, there can be more sustainability in environmental and life cycle assessments. But last but not least, it can be more efficient in maintenance process, in facility management and maintenance. According to Garber, what can the designer expect is that building information modeling promises that a single intelligence model can contain and coordinate the following information: construction documentation, visualization, material and equipment quantities, cost estimates, 4D construction sequencing and reporting, scheduling, fabricating data, and tool paths. BIM is not just about technology. It's about the relationship of people, process, and technology. BIM benefits different kinds of people. It significantly benefits clients through better design and more efficient and reliable delivery of facilities. For contractors, BIM reduces cost and time, enhances safety, and improves competitiveness for them. And for designers, BIM makes greater value through collaborative design, simulation, and engineering. However, some aspects are still need to be improved with BIM as well. The most common mistake is the lack of spatial coordination. Conclusion: design method change depends on many different factors. The way we drive our design is affected by a variety of reasons. With the need of saving time and communicating more convenient, designers started to use digital design method to replace hand drawing. Later on, designers did not satisfied with the single function of computer-aided drawing, so something more intelligent which called computer-aided design. To sum up, as time went by, humans' constructing techniques are developing more and more rapidly, and humans' imagination of designing more and more shapes and forms of architecture is becoming much more powerful than ever before. This is the time that humans can get rid of many limits that barriers us in the past, and create as much as state-of-the-art buildings as long as we can. Computer calculations shorten our times in designing, and even create a large number of results that humans could not predict, but can be used in real construction. At the same time, widely use of networking helps architects to spread their ideas and designs to the whole world, not only communicate with their clients, partners, or construction workers. Computer-aided design system is becoming more and more perfect, and the multifunctional software gives designer much more freedom and choices to pursue their design. What's more, BIM system will become widely used, and architect can be fully participate in the whole design process through the original design to the construction monitoring. My prediction is that in the future, with the much more developed technique support, more and more artificial intelligence design system will emerge and help us with our design process. In an extremely condition, computer might really take over human architect's job, or most of human architect's job. Because if we put enough requirements and rules into the computer system, as long as the calculation is powerful enough, the computer can come up with a design solution that fits all the factors we need, and even fix our appreciation of beauty. However, architect will not disappear because of that. The reason is, although the AI may design a perfect building at one time, they may not be able to evolve to another level when future comes. In contrast, human architect can put more perceptual into the design theory. Unlike computer, may be perfect but less thinking. Yes, computer's thinking is just calculating. They process the programs and data we input, and then come up with a perfect answer, but they do not think, and this part could only be taken by human architects. Limitation. Last but not least, this article demonstrates the changing of the architectural design process, the role of architects changing and evolving, and focus on the development of the digital architectural design process. However, there are some limits that make this article could not be accomplished better. Firstly, there are not enough document literature to be found, and not enough the author read in through. Therefore, it is not persuadable in some point of views that the author gave in this article. Secondly, the article did not give every aspect of digital design history and types, which made the article lacks of comprehensiveness. And finally, the author's control of the words and sentences is still need to be developed to make the article more readable.